submissive power dynamics. I guess, do you feel like people are only kind of realizing its value in that way because we're addressing it as a society, or do you feel like, I don't know, just how do you feel about how it's aged in terms of those themes?
The movie?
Yeah. Sorry, was that question not clear? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think I got it. It definitely was not, it was received at the time that it came out with many different contradicting, conflicting viewpoints. After that initial time of when it came out, I never would have, well, I didn't have the experience to even know that the way it was received could change over time. That's been an interesting thing to witness, just creatively, as you know, from an artistic perspective. Like, wow, that's an interesting thing. How the perspective of a certain piece of art, whether it's a movie or a painting or a book, can change so much, you know, throughout time. So just witnessing that has been interesting. It's been relieving that these very serious, devastating subjects are now finally becoming part of a conversation and are having more of a voice and expression in art. That's been something that, for me especially, has felt like that was the purpose of this character's life, was to help give voice to those stories. And so I'm relieved that in terms of that conversation, it's finally, and just even my interaction with you all, you know, over the past few decades, the conversations have opened up and opened up and opened up and opened up. Because, you know, I hope that answered it. Thank you.
Both of you are incredible. Thanks. I was just wondering when was like the first, because you were talking about earlier, just kind of like abandoning, like, you know, the kind of, I guess, like logical process of an actor and replacing it with like more mood type things. I was just wondering, like, do you remember like the first time you realized, like, okay, I gotta like drop logic stuff? Does that
Did I gotta like what?
that you gotta like drop like all the like logic stuff? If that makes sense.
Yeah, it doesn't enter into it. A lot of people that are new to David when they came onto the third season struggle a little bit with that. Just like, what am I doing? You know, and you know, you just kind of have to trust him, you know, and we've been with him for so many years that we knew that could do it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're dropping everything as much as just sort of changing and adapting to the new thing. I mean, some people are used to working way different than David works, you know what I mean? But you adapt when, you know, especially someone like him where you just trust everything in particular. I mean, you just are willing to give up any sometimes, you know, what you might not be willing to give up for someone else, as far as the why or the how or whatever, instead of just being. Other people you're going to be more questioning, and because you don't trust them, and it doesn't come out after David, if you trusted people and you also see the finished product and it's not exactly what you thought it would be because you trusted that person and they said, yeah, that's it, you know, it's terrifying. So, you know, you get spoiled with listening to David.
Thank you.
So we've got a lot of signing and autographs to do this evening, so I'm going to stop it here at this last question.
We
Come
should
up to the
stop
table and ask
it.
questions.
We should stop it with the last person in line.
Can we do speed
I will
questions?
acquiesce as long as the last person in the line is the dude in the white and black.
Yeah, everybody, is everyone agreed to that?
So I'm sorry,
Can we do
nobody else,
speed questions?
nobody else after you know who you are. And here.
Thank you.
Okay, so I feel like a lot of fans of Twin Peaks, probably everybody here tonight, has like a scene or scenes or a character, some moment in the show that really impacted them or resonated with them in some way. My question is, could you, both of you, tell us like what was a performance of yours that really resonated with you on a personal level or otherwise impacted you?
From this show only?
From the show, from yeah, anything Twin Peaks, yeah.
This answer might take too long tonight, just because of the way my memory works at this point in my life. Like I have, like when I hear a question like that, mentally I have to go slow way down and like go back into all these files and libraries in my brain. So I'm going to be searching because I want to answer you truthfully, so I'm going to be searching for a while. So I might get that answer when you're in line.
I don't really have one of those, but I loved when in the pilot when I surfed in the car. And the scene with Cooper when he's throwing the rocks at the glass thing, trying to figure out how to kill Laura Palmer. That's like one of my favorite scenes.
Well, I liked laughing with Bobby in the woods.
Hi, thank you guys for what you do. You're both amazing. I wanted to ask, so it said that, I mean, it's popularly said that David didn't want to reveal who killed Laura, and my question was, how was it finding out who did it and that whole process, and if it was written on the script or just how was it?
Okay, so I found out in a room that was covered with brown carpet that had like a little waterfall light, and we were sitting on the floor. David was there, Ray was there, and he said to Ray that he did it, and then he said to me as Manny, and now you're gonna die. That's how I found out. Just one of the many fun days.
So, David Lynch films have a fairly unique tone, and I think one of the things that stands out to me about pretty much any David Lynch film is this kind of off-kilter performance that he gets from actors. And I'm curious, as opposed to something that's a little more straight and natural, I'm curious if there's anything that comes to mind that you can think of in terms of his direction that has gotten that kind of performance out of you, or is that something that happens more kind of in the post process?
Yeah, here's what gets it out of you. Okay, you're in a red room and you're gonna speak backwards. You don't know what time period you're in.
That's fair.
Hey, thank you both for being here. I actually wanted to ask about laughing in the woods. That's a wild scene where it's both of you together and it starts with you laughing and then Bobby kills a guy and then you're laughing again at the end. So I just wanted to give you, I was going to ask, you know, can you talk about filming that scene and then, because we have both of you here, so we get to hear from both of you.
It was my favorite, one of my favorite scenes too, that one. It was a long scene, and we started way deep in the woods. David had to start super far back in the woods in the dark, and then we walked through the darkness until we got to where they were actually shooting. And you know, it was like all night kind of. It was like from like I remember it was like 3 in the morning at one point, and I think the guy had already been shot in the head, and David was put on rubber gloves and was like down there making the braids. And it's cold, everybody's freezing, and you know, laughing and doing this. It was just insane. It was insane, and it was so, you know, we had such a great time doing it. It was such a fun scene to do. Really just letting go of everything, you know. Big F you to everything in that scene.
Yeah, and you get that, those scenes like that too, that where we got to be on location like that in those woods. There is much a character in that scene. I mean, you feel like you're not alone in the scene when you're out in those woods.
It's cool.
You know what I mean? Those trees are as much a part of the scene as the people are.
Yeah.